Well, I was still under the, because I'm in my mid-60s now, so, I was still under the impression if you bought a handgun, you had to go.
That's changed.
Well, that's great. Changed. And the only thing I can say is when I was a kid, the one thing you wasn't allowed to do was carry the concealed weapon. It's funny how the laws change,
Well, America is waking up to their to their Second Amendment rights, and
there's also I'd like to mention that right now there's a Senate Bill 680. I believe that's correct.
Senate bill?
Yes, sir. To repeal municipalities' ability to regulate open carry within their city, which I'm a fan of that bill. I think that if the state of Missouri gives us the right to carry,
no city should have the right to override that.
Right. We should not have a city ordinance that allows a more restrictive law than what state law allows.
I am in full agreement with that. All right, we got to take a break because it's the bottom of the hour.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for your call. We appreciate you. My name is Mike Manchin. You're listening to America's Voice, and we've got Don Crowley in the studio this morning. He's running for sheriff in Shannon County, and he's giving us the inside scoop on guns, folks. So make sure you're listening. All right, we are back. You are listening to America's Voice on KBMV at a Birch Tree in West Plains. This is 107.1, and the name of the station is The Point. The name of the show is America's Voice, and my name is Mike, and we are listening to or speaking with Don Crowley this morning, who is running for sheriff up in Shannon County. So, Don, let's talk a little bit about some of the issues that are surrounding your... By the way, I want to give out your phone number if that's okay. Can I do that?
That'd be fine.
Okay. Folks, if you have a question and you're unable to get into the station or call in this morning or something, or you have a topic that you'd like to talk to Don about on a confidential basis, you can reach him at area code 417-293. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
293-3737. I'm going to give out that number a couple of times before the end of the show today. It's 417-293-3737. Now, you have a Facebook page as well?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a website?
No, sir.
Okay, so Facebook, you're at what?
It's Don Crowley for Shannon County Sheriff.
Okay. Don Crowley for Shannon County Sheriff, and it's Crowley. Crowley. Okay, let's talk a little bit about why you're running for sheriff, because this is an important role, and I'm sure you got political issues you want to talk about. What are they?
Well, I'm not much of a politician.
That's good. I'm not biased. I hate all politicians. I don't care what top or what title you run under.
I'd rather be known as a statesman. Politics. I'm new to this whole politics thing. It is definitely an experience in the human psyche. We need Shannon County needs a sheriff that will lead from the front. If elected, I'll work a shift just like any other deputy. Mm-hmm. I'll take reports, answer calls, and conduct investigations. It's the same thing I do for the City of Winona now.
Right, just on a bigger scale.
That's right. That is correct. I'll not ask my deputies to perform a task that I'm either incapable or unwilling to do myself. The Shannon County Sheriff needs to be a leader and lead by example.
There you go. No more leading from behind.
No, sir.
We've had our fill of that crap.
Yes, sir. Our county law enforcement officers need to be proactive as opposed to reactive. An active patrol presence in the county will help discourage crime and provide for a faster response when a crime does occur in that area that's being patrolled. We have two prevalent problems in Shannon County, the first being drugs and the second being theft. They go hand in hand.
Right.
The one feeds the other.
Absolutely.
We need to actively combat these problems in order to make our county a safer place to live and raise our children.
Sure. Let me ask you something about the scourge of drugs, because I'm kind of torn on the issue of drugs. On a personal level, I think if somebody wants to do that, that's their business. If they want to destroy their life, that's their prerogative to do so, because I firmly believe, and I'm a very strong proponent of individual rights.
Sure.
And I don't like things where, there are these consensual crimes kind of thing. On the other hand, I recognize that part of the problem is that because we have the war on drugs, and I use that with I use that term with a grain of salt. I think that we've created a scenario in which, because drugs are illegal, people will carry out illegal actions to continue their use of the drugs. So, and don't misunderstand me when I say people have the right to do whatever they want. That is true, but this methamphetamine, in my opinion, is really probably the downfall of our youth.
It is a scourge to society.
Absolutely. It really is, because it's not something that these people are off the chain with when they're doing this, and once they are started, they'll do almost anything to continue keeping to remain high, if you will.
Yes, sir.
And that's where the theft and the problems come in. Is that they start to run low, they don't have any more money, and they're willing to go do almost anything that they have to obtain some cash so that they can go get more. And
it's one of the most addictive drugs known to man.
Yeah,
it's a terrible thing. It's not just the people that are using the drug that make it a danger to society, because they do most definitely, they are a danger to society. The people who make the methamphetamine,
right? The so-called cooks,
right? They're endangering the entire community.
Sure.
Not only the community, but they're endangering here in our state, the entire state. The dump sites that are collected through the earnest efforts of law enforcement, all of those poisons and toxins, when it rains, it just washes those into our water table.
Right.
And parts per million become something that need to be
prevalent.
Absolutely, you got to be concerned about that.
Sure.
When these poisons, we're talking about different kinds of acids and
the stuff they put in there is just it's household chemical stuff, but it's like stuff you would never ingest, willfully.
Unless you're a meth addict.
Unless you're a meth head, but I mean, who wants to take Drano and heat and stuff like that into your body? I mean, that stuff, that if you put it in your body, it's going to hurt you.
It'll kill you.
And for these people to be willing to do that, I mean, it's beyond my comprehension that anybody would willfully do that. But they are, and for whatever reason, I think the real problem with it is that our society has kind of fallen down on its own heels, and people are looking for almost anything to escape the reality of what's happening around us. And I think that's part of our youth problem in the United States, is that these kids are willing to do almost anything to escape reality.
Sure.
And that's a whole different topic and a whole different issue as to the motivation for it. But the simple truth of the matter is that, it's very clear that we've got an epidemic problem.
It is, and it is of epidemic proportion. I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure how to best, counter that. I mean, I'm assuming that you've got, state and federal grants that you work with. I mean,
well,
is that a countywide function or is that a statewide function?
I hope that it's an everywhere function. It's unfortunately the funds are limited through the federal JAG burn grant that we receive here in the state of Missouri, and then they're dispersed throughout the state. They're so limited that only a small population, if you will, of law enforcement get those funds.
I see.
We use whatever resources are available to us. There's a statewide I think it's going nationwide website where law enforcement officers, you have to apply to be able to use the site. You can go on the site, see where these so-called smurfers, the people who go out and purchase their legal amount of their legal possession amount of ephedrine per week and per month.
I see.
We can track the sales of ephedrine.
So they're the ones who are feeding the cooks, in other words.
Absolutely. And
they're the ones gathering the ingredients in order to give it to somebody who's actually going to be a chef or whatever.
Right. And more often than not, the cook will trade them. They'll trade them product for the pills.
I see.
Or they'll pay for them to go in and use their ID and sign it on the dotted line and take their ephedrine that they purchased legally and then turn it into and convert it into methamphetamine.
I got you.
And it is again, it is a problem of epidemic proportion.
I don't do drugs, so I don't really understand all of the implications of everything that goes into it. But I can tell you that it's some toxic crap.
It is. It's not something that we want our young people